The unfinished prayer. Raheel sat on the old prayer mat in his dimly lit room, the soft hum of the ceiling, fanned, the only sound in the silence. His fingers traced the worn-out edges of his tasbih prayer beads, as he whispered the 99 names of Allah. It had become his daily practice ever since his grandfather passed away, leaving him with a single cryptic sentence before his last breath. The secret is in the 100th name, but it is not spoken, it is lived. At the time, Raheel didn't understand. He had grown up hearing that Allah had 99 names, each representing a divine attribute. But his grandfather's words hinted at something more, something missing. Tonight, as he recited each name with precision, he felt an odd hesitation as he reached the last one, as Sabor the patient. His heart pounded as if expecting something more, as if there should be another name that he should say, but there wasn't. Why 99, he thought. Why not 100? His mind wandered back to his grandfather, a man of deep faith and wisdom. He remembered how he would often say that words had power, that they weren't just sounds but echoes of reality itself. Could it be that the missing name wasn't meant to be spoken but experienced? The next morning, Raheel visited the old Sufi shrine in his neighborhood, where his grandfather often took him as a child. The shrine's caretaker, Baba Jamil, was an elderly man with piercing eyes and a voice that carried the weight of centuries. "You're troubled, my son," Baba Jamil said as Raheel entered. Raheel hesitated, then finally spoke. "Baba, my grandfather once told me about 100th name of Allah, but I can't find it anywhere. Is there such a thing?" Baba Jamil's face softened into a knowing smile. The question that many seekers have asked before you. But tell me, do you understand the first 99 names?" "I know their meanings," Raheel said quickly. "But do you live them?" Baba Jamil asked, raising an eyebrow. "When you call upon Ar-Razak, the sustainer, do you trust that your provisions are already written? When you say Al-Adl, the just, do you uphold justice even when it costs you? When you recite Al-Wadud, the loving, do you love unconditionally?" Raheel opened his mouth but had no answer. Baba Jamil leaned in closer. "The 100th name is not missing. It is revealed to those who embody the first 99. Your grandfather understood this. That's why he said it is not spoken, it is lived." A shiver ran down Raheel's spine. He had spent years searching for a hidden name when the true secret had been in front of him all along. It wasn't about discovering an extra word. It was about becoming the attributes of Allah in his own life. That night, as he sat on his prayer mat again, he whispered the 99 names with a newfound understanding. And as he finished, he didn't feel the usual emptiness at the end. Because now he realized the missing name wasn't something to be spoken aloud. It was something he had to become. The lost name. In the dim glow of his study lamp, Faison turned the pages of an ancient, leather-bound manuscript. The scent of old paper filled the air, mixing with the faint aroma of incense burning in the corner of the room. It was past midnight, but sleep was the last thing on his mind. For years, he had been obsessed with a question few dared to ask. Why 99? Why not 100? Allah's 99 names were widely known, each reflecting a divine attribute: Ar-Rahman, the most merciful; Al-Hakim, the all-wise; Al-Malik, the king. But something about the number always felt incomplete. Every number in the Quran held meaning. So why stop at 99? There were whispers of a 100th name, one not written, not spoken, only understood by those truly worthy. Some scholars dismissed it as superstition, but Faison couldn't shake the feeling that there was something more. Tonight, he had finally found a clue. His fingers traced a passage in an old Sufi text, one he had discovered in a forgotten section of an ancient library. The names are 99, but the final name is hidden within the heart of the one who seeks. His heart pounded. Could it be true? The search for the 100th name. Determined to find answers, Faison traveled to Syria, where he had heard of a scholar named Sheikh Musa, a man known for his deep knowledge of Islamic mysteries. The journey was long, and by the time he reached the Sheikh's humble home, a simple stone house on the outskirts of Damascus, the sun was setting. Sheikh Musa was an old man with piercing eyes that seemed to look straight into Faison's soul. Without waiting for an introduction, He spoke. You seek the 100th name. Faizen's breath caught. How did he know? Tell me, the sheikh continued. Do you think the names of Allah are just words? Faizen hesitated. They are more than words. They are attributes, reflections of his power. The sheikh nodded. Then, why do you search for one more word, when you do not fully understand the 99 you already have? The question struck Faizen like lightning. He had spent years looking for something hidden, yet he had never truly lived the names he already knew. You want the truth? Sheikh Musa asked. The 100th name is not a secret. It is a test. A test. Faizen repeated, confused. Yes, the sheikh said. Anyone can recite the 99 names, but only those who become them can know the last one. The 100th name is revealed not to the mind, but to the soul. It is not written, it is felt. Faizen's hands trembled. He had been looking in books when the answer had been inside him all along. If you want to find it, Sheikh Musa said, then live by the 99. Be merciful like Ar-Rahman, wise like Al-Hakim, just like Al-Adl. When you embody the names, the last one will come to you, without the need to say it aloud. Faizen left Damascus with more questions than answers, but a newfound purpose in his heart. That night, as he prayed, he whispered each of Allah's 99 names slowly, understanding them in a way he never had before. And when he finished, he felt no emptiness, no lingering doubt. For the first time in his life, he felt whole. Because he finally understood. The 100th name was never missing. It had been waiting to be lived. The hidden truth. Many believe the 100th name of Allah is not something to be spoken, but rather something to be experienced. It is the act of living by the divine attributes, the transformation of one's soul into something closer to its creator. The mystery of 99 is not about what is missing. It is about what is becoming. The divine frequency. Faizen had spent years searching for the deeper meaning behind Allah's 99 names. His journey had taken him from dusty libraries to ancient shrines, leading him to a profound realization. These names were not just words, but powerful attributes meant to be lived. But one question still haunted him. Do these names hold a hidden spiritual energy, a frequency that connects us to the divine? It was this question that brought him to a secluded Sufi monastery in Konya, Turkey, where mystics had long whispered about the secret power of divine sound. The Sufi secret. The monastery was silent, save for the distant hum of a flowing stream. Inside, Sheikh Hamid, a revered master of Sufi wisdom, sat in deep meditation. Faizen, humbled yet eager, presented his question. Sheikh, do Allah's names create a spiritual frequency? The sheikh smiled knowingly. Come, listen. He led Faizen to a dark, candlelit chamber where dervishes sat in a circle, eyes closed, their voices rising in unison. They recited the names of Allah, each syllable vibrating in the air like ripples in water. Ya Rahman, Ya Malik, Ya Hakim. Faizen felt it immediately. A strange resonance filled the room, not just a sound, but a presence. It wasn't just their voices. It was as if the space itself was alive with the vibration of the divine. When you recite a name with sincerity, the sheikh explained, you align yourself with its spiritual frequency. Each name is a door, and your voice is the key. But how? Faizen asked, his heart racing. The sheikh picked up a bowl of water and dipped his fingers in. He chanted softly, Ya Salam. And as his voice deepened, ripples began forming on the water's surface, though his hands remained still. Faizen gasped. You see, the sheikh continued, sound is not just heard, it is felt. Every name has a unique vibration, and when spoken with devotion, it shifts the energy around us, sometimes even within us. Faizen was stunned. Had the Sufis unlocked a hidden force within the names of Allah? The experiment. Determined to experience this for himself, Faizen returned home and began an experiment. Every morning before dawn, he would sit in silence and chant the names of Allah. At first, nothing happened. But after a week, he noticed something. His breathing slowed. His thoughts became clearer. And when he recited Ya Shafi, the healer, over a glass of water before drinking, he felt a strange warmth flow through him. One night, out of curiosity, he recorded himself chanting Ya Noor, the light. Playing it back, he noticed something unbelievable. The sound waves on his computer formed a near-perfect geometric pattern, as if the name itself carried a hidden symmetry. Faizen's obsession deepened. He sought out neuroscientists, Sufi scholars, and even physicists, all to understand why these names seemed to resonate at a unique frequency. One Sufi scholar gave him an answer that sent chills down his spine. When Allah said, Kun fayakun, be, and it was sound that created the universe. If a single command could birth existence, imagine the power hidden within his names. Faizen finally understood. The names of Allah were not just words. They were energy, a divine resonance woven into the fabric of reality. The unseen connection. Faizen's journey had started with 99 names and the mystery of a missing 100th. But what he found was even more profound. Each name was a key to unlocking the unseen, a vibration that could heal, transform, and awaken the soul. Maybe the true power of these names was never in their recitation alone. Maybe it was in their experience. And as he sat under the vast night sky, whispering Ya Quddus, the Pure One, he no longer needed proof. He could feel it, the reality of divine frequencies. Many mystics believe that the recitation of Allah's names alters our spiritual state, tuning our souls to a higher frequency of existence. Whether through sound, energy, or deep meditation, the names act as a bridge between us and the divine. Perhaps the 100th name is not spoken, but felt. The healing power of divine names. Hamza had tried everything. For 3 years, his mother had been battling a mysterious illness. Doctors in Lahore, Karachi, and even Dubai had given different diagnoses, but no real cure. Modern medicine seemed to have reached its limit, and yet, her condition worsened. One evening, as Hamza sat beside his mother, watching her frail hands tremble, his uncle Nasir Chacha visited. Nasir Chacha was known for his deep knowledge of spiritual healing, not as a replacement for medicine, but as a supplement to it. Have you ever tried reciting Al-Shafi? He asked gently. Hamza looked at him in confusion. Al-Shafi, the healer? Nasir Chacha nodded. Allah's names are not just words. They carry energy. When recited with sincerity, they align our souls with divine healing. Try it for 40 days. Hamza had nothing to lose. That night, as his mother slept, he sat by her bedside, closed his eyes, and whispered, Ya Shafi, Ya Shafi, Ya Shafi. At first, it felt awkward. He wasn't used to this kind of spiritual practice. But after a few days, something strange happened. His mother, who had struggled to sleep for months, finally slept peacefully through the night. Coincidence? Maybe. But Hamza didn't stop. Every morning and evening, he filled a glass of water, recited Al-Shafi 41 times, and had his mother drink it. Within weeks, her energy returned. Her eyes, once dull, now sparkled with life. Even her doctor was surprised. Whatever you're doing, he said, keep doing it. The rizq that came from nowhere. Inspired by his mother's recovery, Hamza started researching other names of Allah. He discovered that Al-Razaq, the provider, was often recited by people seeking financial stability. This struck a deep chord. Hamza was an architect, but had been struggling to find stable work. Clients came and went, but there was no barakah in his earnings. No matter how much he worked, he felt stuck. One night, he decided to follow the same practice. 41 times after Far, he recited, Ya Razaq, Ya Razaq, Ya Razaq. At first, nothing changed. But then, on the 7th day, his phone rang. It was an old client, someone he had designed a small house for years ago. Hamza Bhai, I have a new project for you. This one is big, a commercial building. I want you to handle everything. Hamza was stunned. It was his biggest contract ever. Was it hard work paying off? Luck? Or the power of divine remembrance? He didn't know, but he believed. Protection in the darkest moment. The true test of faith came a month later. One night, while driving home on an empty road, Hamza noticed two motorbikes following him. Street crime had increased in Karachi, and his heart pounded as he realized what was happening. He whispered Al-Muqtadir, the all-powerful, and Al-Qawi, the strong. Ya Muqtadir, Ya Qawi, Ya Muqtadir, Ya Qawi. The bikes sped up. His hands tightened around the steering wheel. Just then, out of nowhere, a police van turned onto the road ahead. Seeing the authorities, the bikers immediately turned away and disappeared into the darkness. Hamza pulled over, shaking. Was it luck or divine intervention? That night, he sat in gratitude, understanding something deeply. These names were not just words. They were lifelines. A journey of faith. Hamza's life changed in ways he never imagined. His mother healed. His finances improved. He was protected from harm. Maybe it was faith. Maybe it was destiny. But one thing was clear. Allah's names are not just for recitation. They are for transformation. And the key to unlocking their power? Belief. The frequency of faith. Dr. Ayaan Malik had always believed in science. A physicist at a leading research institute in Istanbul, he spent his days studying quantum mechanics, the strange world where particles could be in two places at once, where observation could change reality, and where energy fields shaped the very fabric of existence. But one question haunted him. If everything is energy, if sound carries vibration, then what about the words of the Quran? What about the 99 names of Allah? Could they carry a frequency powerful enough to influence reality? The experiment that changed everything. One evening, Ayaan sat in his dimly lit office, staring at a computer screen filled with waveforms and frequency charts. His research assistant, Layla, walked in. "You've been obsessed with this experiment for weeks," she said. "Any results?" Ayaan exhaled. "I tested the sound vibrations of different words. English, Arabic, Turkish. All languages produce unique frequencies. But..." He paused. Layla leaned in. "But what?" "The 99 names of Allah create the most stable and powerful frequencies I've ever recorded." Layla raised an eyebrow. "How?" Ayaan pulled up a spectrogram analysis on the screen. Each of these names, when recited correctly, falls within a harmonic range that affects water molecules. Layla frowned. "Like the cymatic experiments? Where sound waves change the structure of water." "Exactly." Ayaan's voice was excited now. Japanese scientist Dr. Masaru Emoto proved that positive words create beautiful molecular patterns in water, while negative words create chaotic structures. If human bodies are 70% water, what happens when we repeat divine words? The man who healed through sound. Ayaan decided to take his research beyond theory. He traveled to Konya, Turkey, where he had heard of a Sufi master, Sheikh Ibrahim, who had spent decades using Dhikr, remembrance of Allah, for healing. In a small room filled with books and the scent of burning oud, Sheikh Ibrahim listened patiently to Ayaan's findings. Then he smiled. "You are just discovering what we have known for centuries," the old man said. "Every name of Allah is a frequency that aligns human energy with divine reality." Ayaan hesitated. "But can it actually heal?" Sheikh Ibrahim gestured to a frail boy sitting in the corner. "This is Yusuf. He was diagnosed with chronic pain syndrome. No doctor could help him. But for the past 6 months, he has been practicing a specific name of Allah every day." Ayaan turned to the boy. "Which name?" Yusuf smiled. "Ya Salam, the source of peace." Ayaan's scientific mind wanted proof, but he couldn't ignore the brightness in the boy's eyes. When science meets spirituality. Back in his lab, Ayaan conducted a double-blind study. He gathered volunteers. Some would recite ordinary words, while others would recite divine names. The results were shocking. Those who recited Ar-Rahman, the most merciful, showed reduced stress levels. Those who recited Al-Shafi, the healer, reported a faster recovery from minor illnesses. Those who recited Ya Salam, the source of peace, had brain scans that showed increased theta waves, the same state achieved during deep meditation. Ayaan stared at the data in disbelief. Was this just the placebo effect? Or had he unlocked something ancient and powerful? He remembered the words of Sheikh Ibrahim. Faith is not separate from science. It is the highest form of it. And for the first time, Ayan truly believed. A revelation. Months later, Ayan stood in front of a packed auditorium at a scientific conference in Dubai. He presented his findings, showing the connection between quantum energy, vibrational healing, and the divine names of Allah. The audience was skeptical. A professor raised a hand. "Are you saying that religious recitation can change physical reality?" Ayan smiled. "I'm saying it already does. You just have to listen to the frequency of faith." And with that, he played a recording of Yasalam, a frequency that could heal the soul. The secret of the 100th name. Dr. Ayan Malik sat alone in the dimly lit library of Al-Azhar University. His research into the vibrational power of Allah's 99 names had already stirred controversy in the scientific community. But now he was chasing something even more mysterious, Ism al-Azam, the supreme name of Allah. Islamic tradition whispered about a 100th name, a name so powerful that whoever knew it could change reality itself. Some believed it had been revealed to prophets and a handful of saints. Others claimed it was lost to time. But Ayan had found an ancient manuscript that suggested otherwise. The one who speaks the hidden name will see the fabric of the universe unfold before them. Was this just a metaphor, or a secret waiting to be unlocked? The Forbidden Manuscript. Ayan's journey led him to Fez, Morocco, where an elderly scholar, Sheikh Abdul Qadir, possessed one of the oldest Sufi texts on divine names. Inside a candlelit study, the sheikh unrolled a centuries-old parchment and traced a trembling finger over faded Arabic script. "The names of Allah are 99, the sheikh murmured, "but the 100th name is concealed within them all. It is not a word, but a state of being." Ayan frowned. "A state of being?" The sheikh smiled. "You cannot find the name. You must become it." The words made no sense. How could someone become a name? But before Ayan could ask further, the sheikh handed him a single, worn page. "Go to the desert of Rub al-Khali. There you will understand." The journey into the empty quarter. Ayan had heard of Rub al-Khali, the empty quarter, one of the most desolate places on earth. It was said that Sufi mystics had retreated there for centuries in search of divine wisdom. With nothing but a small pack, he set out into the vast, golden dunes. By the third day, exhaustion took hold. His water was running low, and the sun blazed mercilessly. He began questioning his sanity. Was this just a wild goose chase? But then, as the night fell, Ayan saw something. A lone figure, draped in white, stood atop a dune. Ayan stumbled forward. "Who are you?" The figure turned, and a familiar voice spoke. "You already know me, Ayan." Ayan's breath caught in his throat. It was Sheikh Ibrahim, the Sufi master he had met in Turkey, the one who had shown him the power of Daikar. But how was he here? And then, suddenly, the desert was gone. The revelation. Ayan found himself standing in a place beyond time and space. There was no sky, no ground, just an endless ocean of light and sound. The names of Allah, Al-Rahman, Al-Hakim, Al-Quddus, swirled around him, vibrating through his very being. And in that moment he understood. The 100th name was not a word. It was not a sound. It was awareness. It was the realization that Allah is beyond names, beyond human perception, beyond even the limits of reality itself. The one who seeks the supreme name, the voice whispered, must first surrender everything, including the search itself. Ayan fell to his knees. He had spent his life chasing knowledge, believing that truth was something to discover. But the truth had always been there, waiting to be experienced. Back to the world. When Ayan awoke, he was back in the desert, lying on the warm sand beneath a sky filled with stars. Had it been a vision? A dream? Or something beyond human comprehension? He didn't know. But one thing was certain. He no longer needed to find the 100th name, because it had already found him. The transformation, living the 99 names. Raza Khan was an ordinary man, living an ordinary life in Lahore, Pakistan. A small business owner, he spent his days balancing accounts and arguing with suppliers. Life was tough, and survival was his only goal. He had grown up in a religious household, where his mother often recited the 99 names of Allah. But to him, they were just words. A list to memorize, not a way to live. That changed one fateful night. The stranger at the shrine. One evening, after a long and frustrating day, Raza found himself wandering aimlessly through the narrow streets of Lahore. Without thinking, his feet led him to Data Darbar, the famous Sufi shrine. He wasn't particularly religious. But tonight, something pulled him in. Inside, the air was thick with the scent of incense and rose petals. Devotees whispered prayers, their voices blending into a rhythmic hum. Near a pillar, an old man sat cross-legged, watching Raza intently. "You seem lost, Beta," the old man said, his eyes kind yet piercing. Raza hesitated. "I don't even know why I'm here." The old man smiled. "Maybe you're here to finally understand. The lesson of an Ames." The old man reached into his pocket and pulled out a worn-out piece of paper. On it, written in beautiful Arabic calligraphy, were the 99 names of Allah. "Do you know these?" he asked. Raza nodded. "Of course. Everyone does." The old man chuckled. "No, Beta. Everyone memorizes them, but very few live them." Raza frowned. "What do you mean?" The old man pointed to the first name, Al-Rahman, the most merciful. "You expect Allah to be merciful to you, but are you merciful to others? To the poor man begging outside your shop? To your employees when they make mistakes?" Raza said nothing. The old man moved his finger further down. Al-Adl, the just one. "You ask for justice when life treats you unfairly. But do you practice justice in your own dealings? Do you give your workers their fair share?" Raza looked away, shame creeping into his heart. The old man continued, "Al-Sabor, the patient one. You complain about your hardships, but do you show patience? When your plans fail, when people betray you, do you remain patient as Allah asks you to?" Raza felt a lump in his throat. He had spent his life asking from Allah, but had never embodied what he was asking for. The transformation begins. That night, Raza couldn't sleep. The old man's words echoed in his mind. The next morning, he made a decision. He started small. Instead of shouting at his workers, he listened to their problems. When a struggling beggar came to his shop, he offered food instead of just shooing him away. When a business deal failed, he chose patience over anger. And day by day, as he lived the names instead of just reciting them, he felt something shift inside him. His heart felt lighter. His soul felt at peace. His business flourished, but more importantly, his life changed. He had finally understood what his mother had always tried to teach him. The 99 names of Allah were not just for prayer. They were a guide to becoming a better human being. A society transformed. As Raza changed, so did the people around him. His workers treated customers better. His family became more compassionate. His friends, seeing his peace, started following the same path. It was a ripple effect. A single man living by Allah's names had started to change his community. And then, one evening, as he sat in the same shrine where his journey had begun, he saw the old man again. This time, Raza bowed with respect. "I understand now," Raza said. The old man smiled. "Then you are no longer lost, Beta." The realization. Allah's 99 names are not just for prayer. They are a way to live. And when a person embodies them, they don't just change themselves. They change the world. The final test, embracing the power. Raza Khan had changed. Ever since that fateful night at Data Darbar, when he met the old man and learned the true meaning of Allah's 99 names, his life had transformed. His business had flourished. His relationships had healed. His heart had found peace. But he had yet to face his greatest test. A trial like no other. One morning, as Raza sat at his shop, a young woman entered in distress. Her name was Aisha. She was a widow, struggling to provide for her 2 young children. "I need help," she said hesitantly. "I have no money for rent, and my landlord is threatening to throw us out." Raza felt her pain, but a doubt crept into his mind. What if she was lying? What if she just wanted money for something else? In the past, he would have dismissed her. But then he remembered the names. He closed his eyes and thought of Al-Razaq, the provider. If Allah provides for all, who am I to deny someone in need? Without hesitation, he opened his drawer, took out some money, and handed it to her. Tears welled up in Aisha's eyes. May Allah bless you, bye. At that moment, Raza realized something. The more he practiced the 99 names, the more they became a part of him. The ultimate decision. That night, as he walked home, a man in a dark alley suddenly stepped in front of him. It was his old rival, Khalid. Years ago, Khalid had cheated him in business, causing huge losses. Raza had never forgiven him. Raza, I need to talk, Khalid said hesitantly. Raza felt his old anger return. The betrayal, the pain. But then he thought of Al-Ghaffar, the forgiving one. Could he really call himself a believer if he couldn't forgive just as Allah forgives? With a deep breath, he looked Khalid in the eye. Whatever happened is in the past. I forgive you. Khalid's eyes widened. He looked like a man who had expected a fight, but found mercy instead. Thank you, Raza, he whispered, before walking away. Raza felt something incredible. A weight lifting off his heart. The final realization. That night, Raza sat on his prayer mat, reflecting. The 99 names of Allah were no longer just words to him. They had changed his heart. They had changed his actions. They had changed his life. And then he remembered the old man's words. It's not about memorizing the names. It's about becoming them. He finally understood. This knowledge was not just a blessing. It was a responsibility. And the question was, are we ready to embrace this power? The true ending. A challenge for us all. Raza made his choice. Now it's your turn. Will you simply recite the 99 names? Or will you live them? Because if you do, you won't just change yourself. You'll change the world. The end. Or a new beginning. Would you like to expand this into a full novel or a series of interconnected stories? Smiling face with smiling eyes.